let's talk about MMA. This is technically an MMA show.
Sure.
Although we bounce all over the place. You like the golden era of MMA, and that's something that I've noticed. We've talked about guys that you brought into Vegas, the Starcast 2, and that was kind of something you wanted to do. What was it about that golden era of MMA, your Shamrocks and your Severns and your Bob Sapps and all that really that you really liked? What was it about that time?
They had more of a pro wrestling approach to promoting the fight back then.
It makes sense. Yeah.
It was just bigger and more trash talk, and it felt more underground and less like sport. It's more sport now than ever before. Everybody's great at every discipline. The genesis of the UFC was all these different specific styles against each other. And now, man, everybody's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and everybody can box, and everybody was a, Division I wrestler. So it's a little less interesting to me than it used to be, but I still pick up almost every UFC. I watched this past week, and I mean, I'm going to continue to watch. I'll always watch, but the characters are not as larger than life anymore. I mean, it's happening whenever Conor fights.
Exactly.
I love Max Holloway, and he's phenomenal to watch, but I miss the old trash talk of a Frank Mir or Tito Ortiz, or the fantastic knockouts of Chuck Liddell, and that Silva, was my heyday. Oh my God, Anderson Silva's the GOAT to me.
He's the GOAT to me. He really is still to this day. I loved that run that he was on. You said you got all the fights back then. I think everybody did. And it was a smaller roster. The roster, I think, is probably tripled in size, if not more than that. They basically got rid of most of their competition. I never have felt like Bellator has ever got to that point. They've tried so hard. It's never been there. Is there a way you think that they can get back to that excitement? And I feel like, you even hear this with the WWE all the time, how can the WWE, get back to that attitude era, whatever. That mid 2000s era of UFC, I think, was really the precipice of it. I mean, when you had your Forrest Griffin and your Stephan Bonner, and that led into that run, with Silva, et cetera, all these names. Do you feel like the UFC can do anything to get there? Or do you think they're too far into the sports realm that's just what it's going to be from now on?
Well, the fighters now are just better fighters. They're more easy for me to say, more well-rounded.
Sure.
A guy like Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner, that you and I love that fight so much. I don't think we're ever going to see a fight like that again. I don't know that guys like that would fight in the UFC again. They were great guys. They had a lot of heart. They had a lot of talent, but the talent now is so much greater. Their actual skills. I'm not saying heart. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying their skill level is so much more advanced that I don't think you'll see fights that were quite as entertaining as that again, where they are just throwing caution to the wind. Now it's much more scientific. It's a much more of a chess match approach. I mean, there are times in that not Conor McGregor, but Forrest Griffin fight with Stephan Bonner.
Yeah.
It's like rock and sock 'em robots. It's a tough man contest. And we're just not going to see that again, I don't think.
Now, we've seen some with your Leonard Garcia. He's one of my favorite fighters. Love that guy. And you see some guys, even with the Poirier and the Conor fight. I mean, although there was some leg kicks, obviously, that led to where it went. At some point, they were just throwing bolo punches. They were just throwing haymakers, and whoever was going to land that shot was going to win. And it was Poirier, and it was a wild victory. And I think, I think Conor still has a lot of gas in the tank, and I think you're going to see Conor really amp it up. And I think he still has a good chance to be a top 5 guy and to make some noise. I think he's that talented. But you do see it when you get two guys that are just the right opponents of each other. You'll still see those fights. So I think you'll get there. I just feel like the UFC as a product, they need to do a little bit of trimming. They need to do some things to really get that excitement again. I will say this. Go ahead.
It won't happen. They made more money than ever last year. They're not going to depart course. So we can say we liked it better back then. We got to go watch it on the network because it's never going to be like that again.
Yeah, you're right. I'd say you're right on that.